I'm Saubhagya. I'm an architect based in Uttarakhand, and before joining this program, I had a practice of my own, um, yeah, which is quite a bit in hold when I came to UFP. The way the course was structured with the skill labs, like doing a lot of data analysis, doing GIS, that gave me a handful of exposure, and also things that how can I present myself in front of the world. Like, for example, I had a very like a small background in film and media from before, but after coming over here, I explored more opportunities. I learned more about how these things of visual representation of anything can be formulated in more interesting ways. Learning is something, sometimes the learning which you do at a point, you don't realize that you have learned something, and the realization comes much after also. So, but I'm sure that there is a lot that I've gained over here. I might take some more time to process it, digest it properly, but yeah, but it would be reflected like throughout my life. I'm sure about that. So I see diversity as a big opportunity, and also it was a really interesting way because for example, in the kind of educational institutions we have for the technical education these days, so students work in groups, and the groups are formed in like the initial years of the course, and then these groups continue till the final years, and they work in like certain setup and they get customized. But like, if we have to get into solving some of the really complex issues which are related to which are small and large related to the urban, so we have to somewhere learn to deal with things in a holistic manner, or like I mean, how do we negotiate, and how do we, so sometimes like I found myself in places where there are like five people with a kind of opinion, and I'm alone in one group. So how do I negotiate that, and how do I make those things happen more nicely? And also sometimes like you have a kind of clashes which are really good, because clashes generate new opportunities. When there is a kind of a distinction in approach, then two approaches will lead to two new dimensions, which then connected could form something which is really nice to see. Yeah. Immersion trips was the great exposure, and also I would add that immersion trips helped with our practica as well, because practica was a really core component of this course, and that helped us build our own imaginations through our own critical thinking. So I mean, if I look at practica separately, so it's something that, for example, people are looking at housing, economy, ecology, like very diverse things. But I picked a very small thing for me, which is like one of the smallest lakes in Bangalore. But when I went across to see like what happens with ecological system, for example, we went to Mumbai for immersion trip, and we saw that how like Seven Islands just is a big city right now, which is urban sprawl. So, and also we went to Kochi, where we found out like how small negotiations can lead to some things which may reflect in the future. For example, the metro project, or something like a garbage recycling center in Kochi. And then we talk about the ecological systems in the urban, right? So this whole I would call pedagogy that runs around was made much clear to generate a critical thinking by these immersion trips and field trips. So yeah, so practically, I would say, if I talk about the practica, the very core components that helped me do the practica were the immersion trips. I would talk about filmmaking, I would say. So I think that was one day, like we started shoot 5 in the morning and ended up till 9 in the evening. So I think that was the most hardworking day I had in the whole fellowship, physically also. And I really like enjoyed working with kind of a group dynamics that was formed somewhere randomly, but it worked out so well. So I really remember that time, and also like a lot of times we have in our PG, and also across like meeting people over here, and just talking to new people, getting new experiences. So there are many of those. So just to remember one I told you, but I can't just set them in a kind of a hierarchy.